Hey guys, welcome back. It is May the 5th, the Revenge of the 5th. Now, I was going to do a video yesterday and be like, May the 4th be with you, but I'm more of a Sith anyway, so it's Revenge of the 5th. Anyway, so today we have something that I just learned how to do. We're going to be working with some SEA stuff today. I promise that I'll get back to some prop making, even some blacksmith stuff. I actually did a blacksmithing project a couple days ago. I had to make a draw knife, but it was raining and I didn't particularly want my phone out in the rain, so I didn't film it, and I apologize. I'll probably do another one here pretty soon. But today we're going to be working with Ratatan, or Radan, whichever way you pronounce it. I'm not exactly sure the real way to pronounce this. As Max from LARPgasm says, broomstick. But all Radan is it's a form of bamboo. It's a cousin to bamboo, except it is solid. Like, it's got these pores on the bottom of it that run all the way through, and depending on the size of the pores running through it, it depends on the density of said Radan. Now, mine right now measures about 38 inches long. I bought mine 42 inches, an inch and 3/4 thick, which, if you are familiar with SCA regulations, you're gonna be like, that's really, really big. And I did this on purpose. My thought was, if I make it really thick and heavy and train with it, I'll get used to it, and then when I move to something lighter, it will, I'll be faster. Which, in theory, is a great idea. Kind of like Dragon Ball Z, Goku, Piccolo wear weighted clothes. When they take them off, they're super fast. But I realized that with my carpal tunnel, it was just too heavy. My wrist started hurting way too soon. My arm got tired. So I made a draw knife and basically shaved it down. It is an inch and 3/8 thick. Now, regulation states that it has to be an inch and a quarter. That way, if you hit somebody in the face, it's not going to go through the face mask. Now, this is already above that, but where you always have to add tape to it. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be taping up an SEA sword, making it legal. Now, the most important part to this is this. I'm using Scotch tape. It says shipping. What this actually is strapping tape. If you look fairly close here, you notice all these little lines and stuff in it. That's fiberglass. Like, some pretty heavy-duty stuff here. And what it'll do is, with pressure, it won't, if the Radan splinters, it won't, like, stab somebody. The tape will keep it in there. I don't see this happening. I don't know the likelihood of this happening, but I want to make sure I can use the sword that I made in practice on Sunday, and being that today is Friday, figured I might as well show you guys how I'm doing it, since I'm going to be doing it anyway. So, what I'm going to be doing is taking this strapping tape and running it from right here all the way to the end, and then back to probably about right here, maybe a little bit lower, for just doubling it up, making sure nothing's gonna happen. Yeah, and then I'll get back to you guys after that's done, and we'll attach the guard I made. We'll even have some fun with some duct tape. So I'll get back to you guys as soon as that's done. Alright, y'all, so we're back, and we're all strap taped up. Now, what we're going to do now is incorporate some foam. SEA requires that you have a stabbing tip on weapons, at least one-handed weapons. That's all I know from now. So what we're going to do is take some camp mat foam. This is 1/2 inch thick. A nice handy dandy Sharpie. And what I'm going to do is plop it down there. Take it like this. Go around. Okay. And we've got our first one. What I believe are the rules is it needs to be 1 inch of foam for your stabbing tip, or 1.5 inches. I think it's 1 inch. I'm going to go ahead and make 1.5 inches, and it needs to compress 1/2 inch. So what I'm going to do is just make 3 of these. Cut them out with some scissors, and then we're going to play with some duct tape and get that all situated on. So we've got those. Some nice strong scissors. They don't need to be perfect. It's going to be covered in tape and moved to form, but try to keep them as round as possible. You don't want any kind of overhang, or if you do have overhang, you don't want it much. Okay, that's 2. Okay, so that's number 3. So we have our 1.5 inch of stabbing tip here. I'm going to orient these about the way I want them. I'm going to put that one on top. And then what I'm going to do is I have some silver duct tape here that I know I'm not going to have on the outside of my blade. So I'm going to take a nice strip of it and go ahead and tear it into sections, because I don't need the whole strip, I just need pieces. I'll probably end up using the whole strip, but for now I'm going to do pieces. I'm going to take these, my strip of duct tape, plop it there, run down the sides and around. Do not compress it. I'm just doing that to keep it together. I've got the top of my sword here. Gotta put that there. Take this, start it on the side, come up. Remember, do not compress. Come around to there. Just like that. Take my other strip. Do the same thing. Alright. Now, here's where things get optional. What I'm going to do is take some leather. This is the same leather that I did for that horrible bow wrap. The same wrap, or leather I did for this amazing handle wrap. Okay, that is a great saddle stitch. The one I did for the bow was horrid, and I apologize. I'll be redoing that. But what I'm going to do here is take this and cup it over the sides. Remember, not compressing, but I'm just draping it over. Take some of my duct tape. Wrap it around. Okay. As you can see, the leather comes down past the stabbing tip to here. I'm going to do that twice, just because. I saw another YouTuber do it, but it was like several year old video, and I don't remember who did it, so I can't give credit. But, and I've read several vlogs over it, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this again. That way, I'll show you here in a second. Got that all taped up. Okay, when you stab, it will compress. The leather kind of balloons out. That way, it's not going to hurt anybody. Because if you stab somebody with the end of a stick, it's gonna freaking hurt. So this way, it's a nice stabbing tip. The leather keeps the foam safe. Go ahead and another piece right there. I'm gonna take a full strip and go around where I secured it, going down a little bit so it actually sticks to the strapping tape. Go all the way around. Make sure this is nice and tight around there. That way our leather does not pull up. The leather itself is going to be covered here in a moment with duct tape. Now, the SCA requires that your blade be duct taped in one color and the edge shown in another. Now, what I mean by that is I'm going to spiral my whole blade in black duct tape once I get it open, and then show exactly where my edge alignment is in red. So essentially, you gotta take this big old roll of duct tape. I'm going to spiral it all the way down, and then I'll get back to you guys and I'll show you how to do edge alignment. Thanks. Alright, y'all, so we're back and I have my entire blade wrapped in black duct tape. I even wrapped around the stabbing tip. I left the top open just a little bit, just because I didn't see the point in wrapping it like twice in duct tape. But what I'm going to do now is I have this red duct tape that stands out really well against the black, because regulation states that I need a contrasting color to define my edge alignment. Now, if you have ever used a sword, ever, you know that if you hit with the edge, you cut. If you hit with the flat of it, you just smack somebody. Now, what this means is that if I hit somebody with the part that is red, it's a legal strike. If I hit with the part that is black, it does not count. So all I'm doing here is putting a strip of red tape. My hand will fit like this. That puts my edge right there. So if I hit somebody like that, it's good. But if my wrist turns and I hit somebody like this, it's not. So what I'm going to do is take more of this red duct tape and come up over the tip without compressing it. Compressing it. Why did that sound weird to me? And come back down the other side, because swords have two edges. Well, not all swords. Most swords have two edges. Hence the term double-edged sword, or double-edged blade. So, I'm gonna line this up as well as I can. Okay. There we go. Now I have a taped rattan sword. And if you notice, this is my guard. I'm going to be wearing a full gauntlet, so I don't need a cup guard. If you notice, I have a really odd trigger, and I don't know if this is legal, which is why I haven't like securely like double duct taped this. But this one I know is legal, because you hold it like this and you flick and it makes sure that you don't like lose it on your swing. For some reason, this feels oddly comfortable. Like I've indexed this handle to the shape of my hand to where my middle finger sits in this groove. And if I do this, it's just on that downside of that swell. Like, I enjoy this very, very thoroughly. These are big enough that I can wear them with gloves. In fact, I have a glove here that I'm planning on making my mitt on. Haven't got that far yet. But, glove. There we go. It's pretty nice. Now, what I'm going to do is I have another, well, if I can get it off, another strip of this red duct tape. And I'm just going to tear some squares off of it and stick it around my stabbing tip to visually show that this is legal to stab with, that it is a stabbing tip, and you don't want to be on the wrong end of it. So there we go. And with that, we're done. Now, you may be asking about this. This is actually hardened leather. Like, it's not gonna move or break. I've actually moved my tape up onto it. That way it stays. But what it is the veggie leather that I use, like, it's this stuff. That's, this is just scrap I was messing around with, practicing rivets and such. But what I did was boil it for about 25 to 30 seconds and came out with stuff like this. And this. But for those of you who are interested in boiling leather, I recommend watching some videos first, because it's a lot harder than it looks. I had a strip that was 3 inches wide. I want to say a good 15 inches long. And I left it in the water too long and it turned into this. It is severely warped and buckled. And I left it too long and it's brittle. Like, really brittle. To bending. Like, impact strikes, probably not that big a deal. These are my shears. I can just... it cuts right through. Razor blade. Actually, the razor kind of just mars it, but it doesn't actually like cut into it. Scissors. Not so much. So, if you're going to be doing hardened leather, I recommend watching videos and practicing. It took me about 6 different tries getting the timing right to do this. It's just practicing. I recommend trying very small strips first, because leather's kind of expensive. just a lot of it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like on it if you liked it. Drop me a comment if you have any thoughts or suggestions on future videos. Yeah, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that button. Hit the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you know every time I put up a video. I'm trying to get one out at least once per week, if not more. Depending on how my work schedule goes and things like that, I may be putting out 2, 3, apparently this week like 4 or 5. On Sunday, today being Friday, on Sunday I will try to get some footage of me fighting or at least some people in my shire fighting, and we'll talk about that on Sunday. But until then, guys, stay safe in everything you do, and I will catch you next time.